Hey there. Let's jump straight into a story that'll hit close to home for many of you. I'm talking about James, a 62-year-old who is anything but your typical senior. This guy was a powerhouse, a marathon runner for decades. Picture him at dawn, already pounding the pavement, a familiar sight in his neighborhood, making the rest of us feel a tad lazy. He'd run more marathons than most of us have had birthday cakes. So, when his legs started to give out, it wasn't just a worry, it was a full-blown crisis. Imagine the shock when James, who used to leap upstairs two at a time without breaking a sweat, suddenly found them feeling like a mountain he couldn't climb. He'd tell his wife, "My legs just don't have the drive anymore. They feel empty." He was breathless, weighed down, struggling with the simplest movements in his own home. For a man who lived for endurance, the fear of losing his mobility, his independence, was gut-wrenching. Doctors were puzzled at first. His heart? Strong. Lungs? Clear. Some joint wear and tear, sure, but nothing to explain this sudden, crippling weakness. The suspense, the weeks of tests, the anxiety, it was torture for him. And then the answer came, and it was almost unbelievable. Who'd have thought that this marathon champ's nightmare stemmed from something so overlooked? A severe magnesium deficiency. Yep, that little mineral we don't often think twice about. Looking back, there were whispers of trouble James brushed off. Mild muscle twitches in his calves after runs, the occasional nighttime cramp jolting him awake. He chalked it up to tough workouts or just getting older. A lingering tiredness lingered too, but he figured he was pushing too hard. As a seasoned athlete, he thought he had his health locked down, never imagining his body could betray him over something so subtle. How did this happen to someone like James? Well, intense exercise like marathon training can drain certain nutrients faster than you'd expect, especially as we age and our bodies don't absorb as well. It was likely a mix of factors quietly stacking up against him. But here's the good news. Once the problem was pinned down, the fix was surprisingly doable. With a targeted approach to rebuild his magnesium levels, James felt the weight lift off his legs in just a few weeks. The weakness faded, and soon he was back tackling those stairs and hitting his beloved trails again. The relief? You could feel a mile away. James's story is a wake-up call. That sudden struggle, that heaviness in your legs, it might not just be age creeping up. It could be a quiet crisis brewing inside, one that hits your legs harder and faster than you'd ever guess. Stick with me, because next, we're diving into why your leg strength might be slipping away at a shocking pace, and what you can do about it. 1. Let's dive right in with something that hit close to home for James, that sudden, terrifying weakness in his legs. But here's the real shocker I need you to hear. This isn't just his story. After 60, your leg muscles can disappear, and I mean vanish up to 8 times faster than the muscles in your arms. 8 times. Think about that for a second. You might still feel pretty strong twisting open a jar or hauling groceries, but down below, your legs could be silently slipping away from you at an alarming rate. Now, this isn't just about feeling a little weaker as the years go by. We're talking about a sneaky process called sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. But here's the cruel twist. It doesn't play fair. It targets your lower body with a vengeance. Why? Your legs, your quads, hamstrings, glutes, and calves are your anti-gravity warriors. They're built for big, essential moves like standing up, walking, climbing stairs, or getting out of a chair. When you start moving less, even just a tad, these powerhouse muscles are the first to shrink as if sounding a silent alarm. Meanwhile, your arms often keep busy with everyday stuff, eating, dressing, reaching for things so they hold on a bit longer. It's like your legs are on a fast track to retirement, whether you're ready for it or not. And the worst part? You might not even notice until one day, like James, you can't tackle the stairs or struggle to stand up from a low seat. But hold on. There's a surprising ray of hope, and it comes from an unexpected place: outer space. Picture astronauts floating in zero gravity. Their leg muscles waste away fast because they're not fighting against anything. NASA has thrown serious resources at solving this. And one of their best tricks can work for us right here on Earth in just 10 minutes a day. It's not about fancy gear. It's a simple idea called slow burn resistance. Imagine doing a basic squat, but instead of zipping up and down, you take 5 full seconds to lower yourself, pause for a beat, then 5 more seconds to push back up. Or try sitting against a wall like you're in an invisible chair, holding it for 30 seconds, then resting and repeating. These slow, intense efforts send a loud message to your legs. Hey, we still need you. Don't check out. It's not about slogging away for hours at the gym. It's about short, mindful bursts that mimic the constant battle your legs should be waging against gravity. This would be a total game changer for holding on to and even rebuilding that precious leg muscle. Now, movement is only half the battle. What you feed your muscles, and when, matters just as much. Here's a little insider tip from elite bodybuilders, even those still crushing it in their 70s and 80s. It's not just about chugging protein shakes. It's all about protein timing and distribution. As we age, our bodies get a bit sluggish at turning protein into muscle. You can't just load up on a big steak at dinner and call it a day. Instead, spread that protein out evenly. Think of it as giving your muscles a steady drip of building materials rather than dumping one giant pile and hoping for the best. Aim for a solid protein source at breakfast, another at lunch, and again at dinner. Some pros even time a protein-packed snack 30 to 60 minutes after working their legs, no matter how light the effort, to jumpstart repair and growth. It's not about huge amounts. It's about smart, consistent fueling to keep those muscle-building signals firing. So, as you go through your day, take a quick moment to think about those vital muscles below your waist. Are you sending them the right messages with movement and nourishment to stick around for the long haul? What's one small step you could take today, maybe inspired by astronauts or athletes, to remind your legs are not just needed, they're absolutely essential? Let's keep this conversation going, and I'll catch you next time with more ways to stay strong. 2. Today, we're diving into something that might just blow your mind. What if those shaky, heavy, or just plain unreliable legs of yours aren't the problem at all? What if the real troublemaker is hiding out in your lower back, pulling the strings without even a hint of back pain? It's a sneaky culprit that even doctors can sometimes miss. You see, your legs aren't running the show on their own. They get their instructions straight from nerves that start in your lower spine and travel all the way to your toes. If one of those nerve pathways gets pinched or irritated as it leaves the spine, it's like kinking a garden hose. The signal to your leg muscles gets messed up, leaving you with that unnerving feeling of legs turning to jelly or a heaviness that makes every step a battle. Let me tell you about Margaret, a retired librarian who, despite having no back pain, suddenly felt like she was dragging an anchor with her right leg. Even walking up the gentle slope to her mailbox turned into a real struggle. Doctors were stumped. No arthritis, strong pulses in her feet. Then a sharp physical therapist uncovered the issue. Margaret had been a lifelong stomach sleeper, always with her head turned sharply. Decades of this subtle twisting had compressed her lower spine, crimping the nerve signal at its source. Her leg wasn't weak from lack of use. It was weak because the message from above was getting blocked. Now, Margaret's story shows how something as simple as sleeping posture can cause chaos. But there's an even bigger, often hidden issue at play, something called the invisible herniation. Get this. Research shows a staggering 40% of folks over 60 who feel perfectly fine in their backs actually have disc bulges or herniations that would show up on an MRI. For many, it's like a harmless birthmark, no big deal. But for some, even a silent bulge, one that doesn't cause a single twinge in your back, can quietly press on a nerve root heading to your leg. Imagine a tiny grain of sand on a sensitive fiber optic cable. You don't feel the sand, but the signal to your leg flickers, dims, or leaves you with that weird jelly feeling, weakness, or even numbness. Take Arthur, who loved tinkering in his woodworking shop. Suddenly, he couldn't stand at his workbench for more than a few minutes because his left calf felt like cotton wool, totally unreliable. No back pain, just frustrating leg fatigue. An MRI, ordered as a last resort, revealed a small, clinically silent disc bulge right at the L5 level of his spine, exactly where the nerve to his calf starts. Or think of Sarah, who started shuffling her feet just a bit, not because she felt frail, but because she had this subconscious fear her leg might give out mid-stride. Her back felt fine, but that subtle nerve interference was quietly messing with her stability and gait. So, how do you figure out if your spine is the silent saboteur behind your leg troubles? I've got a quick, powerful 30-second check you can do right in your morning routine, maybe even before your first cup of coffee. Here's how it goes. First, stand tall and slowly bend forward, like you're reaching for your toes, but only as far as feels comfortable. As you do, really tune in. Do you notice any tingling, numbness, or weakness in your legs popping up? Or does it oddly ease up? Then come back to standing, put your hands on your hips, and gently lean back just a touch. Listen to your legs. Any change? Next, gently bend to one side, then the other, feeling a mild stretch. Finally, do a slow, gentle twist of your torso to the left, then the right. Here's the key. It's not about how far you can move or if your back feels stiff. The gold is in whether these simple spinal movements change, trigger, or even relieve those specific leg symptoms you've been dealing with. If bending forward always sparks a tingle in your calf, or leaning back brings on thigh weakness, that's a huge clue your spine-to-leg nerve pathway is involved. Isn't that a game changer? The idea that the secret to stronger, steadier legs might lie in paying attention to your spine, even when it's not the part complaining. As you go about your day, take a moment to notice. How are your back movements, or even the way you sit for long stretches, quietly chatting with your legs? Stick with me, and let's keep uncovering these hidden connections to keep you moving strong. 3. Today, we're diving into a truly chilling possibility about why your legs might be struggling, a silent, deadly threat that could be lurking in your calves, cutting off the very lifeblood they need. I'm talking about peripheral artery disease, or PAD, a condition far more dangerous than just a bit of muscle fatigue or joint pain. Let's unpack this together, because ignoring it could be catastrophic. Picture this. George, a sweet older gentleman who loved nothing more than tending to his garden, started feeling a strange, burning cramp in his calves whenever he mowed the lawn or walked across his yard. He'd stop for a moment, rub his legs, and the pain would magically vanish. So, he brushed it off as just getting older or overdoing it. This went on for years. Activity brought pain, rest brought relief. Until one day, the pain hit so hard he nearly collapsed. His doctor dropped a bombshell: severe PAD. Those cramps weren't just tired muscles. They were desperate cries from his leg tissues, starved of oxygen because the arteries, those vital pipelines, were clogged like rusty old pipes. It was as if his legs were suffering tiny mini strokes every time he moved. This is where we need to pay close attention to what I call the pain stop relief pattern. In medical terms, it's called intermittent claudication, a kind of pain, cramping, or heaviness in your legs, often the calves, but sometimes thighs or buttocks, that flares up when you're active and fades when you rest. It's not just tiredness. It's a haunting warning sign that your blood vessels are in a silent traffic jam. Every time you have to stop, it's like your body is begging for a breather before total breakdown. Take Eleanor, a retired teacher. She couldn't push her shopping cart halfway through the store without a deep, tearing pain in her thighs, forcing her to pause in a quiet aisle, pretending to browse while waiting for the ache to subside. She thought she was just out of shape, but this stop-and-go cycle was her arteries screaming for help. So what's behind this hidden crisis? Most often, it's atherosclerosis, the same nasty process that can clog your heart arteries. Over time, a sticky mess of fat, cholesterol, and calcium builds up like rust on the inside of your blood vessels, narrowing them down to a trickle. The scariest part? This can happen without a whisper of warning. You might feel fine until those arteries are 60% or even 70% blocked, and by then, your leg muscles are already in serious trouble. But here's a glimmer of hope from an unexpected source: ancient wisdom from the East. Thousands of years ago, traditional Chinese healers understood the vital importance of keeping blood flowing freely through the body. They developed practices to guide this flow, not just for energy, but for life itself. One such idea we can borrow is a mindful walking technique inspired by what we might call the crane step. Imagine walking like a graceful crane, lifting your leg lightly, landing on your heel, rolling smoothly through your foot, and pushing off with your toes. Each step is slow, deliberate, with knees slightly bent and arms swinging naturally, almost like a silent dance. This isn't about speed, it's about quality. Done regularly, this gentle rhythm acts like a deep massage for your vascular system, encouraging your body to grow tiny new blood vessels, natural detours around the blockages, to nourish those starving muscles. So, here's my heartfelt plea to you. The next time your legs feel heavy or ache after a short walk, where you find yourself pausing on the stairs not just to catch your breath, but because of leg discomfort, don't just shrug it off as aging. Ask yourself, did this pain start with activity? And did it ease up or vanish completely when I stopped? That simple pattern could be the most critical health clue you uncover. What urgent message is your body sending through this window of pain and relief? Let's listen to it together. 4. Hey there, friends. Let's dive into something that could be quietly undermining your vitality, especially if you've crossed that 60-year mark. Picture this: an invisible force eroding your leg strength, throwing off your balance, and even fogging up your sharp mind. This isn't some sci-fi thriller. It's a silent battle within your body, centered on a critical nutrient called vitamin B12. The chilling truth? Even if you're eating all the right foods, your body might be letting this life-giving spark slip right through its fingers. Take Agnes, a spirited 68-year-old who always took pride in her active life and balanced meals. Lean meats, fish, eggs, she had all the B12-rich foods on her plate. Yet, she started feeling this eerie tingling in her feet, like a strange buzzing she couldn't shake, paired with a bone-deep exhaustion no nap could touch. When her doctor dug deeper, the verdict was shocking. Her B12 levels were dangerously low. How could this happen? Here's the kicker. After 60, your stomach, once a powerhouse of digestion, starts slacking on producing stomach acid. You might think less acid sounds like a relief, especially if heartburn's been a foe. But for B12, that acid is the key to unlocking it from food. Worse, with less acid often comes a drop in a special protein called intrinsic factor. Think of it as B12's exclusive backstage pass into your bloodstream. Without it, no matter how much B12-rich steak you savor, it just passes through untouched and unabsorbed. The fallout isn't just about feeling tired. B12 is the guardian of your nerves, maintaining a protective layer called the myelin sheath. Imagine it as insulation on electrical wire. When B12 runs low, that insulation frays and nerve signals short-circuit. This isn't just a little pins and needles annoyance. It can spiral into profound numbness, a unique kind of leg weakness tied to faulty nerve signals, not muscle loss, and a frightening wobble in your step. Consider David, a 72-year-old retired craftsman whose steady hands once crafted masterpieces. Lately, he's been stumbling, fumbling with small tools, his legs feeling like they're on shaky ground, his thoughts clouded. He blamed it on age, but the real culprit was B12 deficiency, slowly disrupting his nervous system, turning his reliable body into a stranger. Now, here's a game changer to outsmart this internal roadblock: sublingual B12. That's a form of B12 you dissolve under your tongue. Why does this matter? The area under your tongue is packed with blood vessels, letting B12 slip straight into your bloodstream, completely dodging the struggling stomach and gut. It's like discovering a hidden shortcut when the main gate's bolted shut. Don't assume this is just a worry for vegetarians or vegans. Sure, B12 mostly comes from animal products, putting them at higher risk. But this absorption glitch after 60 makes everyone vulnerable, even meat lovers. And here's another twist. Some everyday medications can play the role of silent thieves. Certain drugs for acid reflux or diabetes management can interfere with B12 uptake over time, turning a well-intentioned prescription into an unexpected nutrient drain. Let's draw inspiration from a culture known for longevity, the Japanese. Beyond their B12-rich fish, They've got hidden gems in their traditional diet. Take natto, a fermented soybean dish with a sticky texture and bold aroma. It's an acquired taste, no doubt, but it's a surprising B12 powerhouse, thanks to bacteria during fermentation. Then there's Aceri clams, or sure Jimmy, tiny shellfish often simmered in miso soup, brimming with highly absorbable B12. These aren't magic fixes, but they reveal a truth modern diets often overlook. Ancient food wisdom holds alternative paths to nourishment. So, let's pause and reflect. That lingering fatigue coffee can't shake, the odd prickling in your toes, a slight unsteadiness in your stride, or even a stubborn mental haze. Could these be more than just signs of getting older? What if your body is sending an urgent distress call? Not about how much B12 you're eating, but about how little it's actually able to use. Don't brush it off as inevitable. Listen closely. Your vitality might just be waiting for you to crack this hidden code. 5. Today, let's talk about a real sleep thief. Those brutal leg cramps that rip you out of a peaceful slumber, often striking right around 3 a.m. Picture this. You're deep in dreamland, and suddenly your calf or foot locks up like it's caught in a steel trap. Pure agony. Most folks point the finger at dehydration, and sure, staying hydrated is key for overall wellness. But when it comes to these midnight muscle rebellions, the story gets a lot more interesting. Let's dig deeper. You've chugged water all day, maybe even had a glass before bed. So why the sudden torture? The real culprit often hides in a subtle imbalance inside your body, a delicate dance between two minerals, calcium and magnesium. Think of calcium as the gas pedal for muscle contraction, revving things up, while magnesium is the brake, easing everything back to calm. Modern diets, even the ones that seem healthy, can accidentally slam on that gas pedal without touching the brake. A meal loaded with dairy or fortified foods pumps up calcium, but if it's not balanced with magnesium-rich goodies like leafy greens, nuts, seeds, or whole grains, trouble brews. It's not that calcium is the bad guy. It's essential, but without its partner in the right ratio, your muscles might just refuse to relax. Take Eleanor, a spry 70-year-old who was all about keeping her bones strong. She'd religiously sip a glass of milk or pop a calcium supplement every evening. Yet, night after night, leg cramps tormented her. She blamed age, thought it was just her lot in life, until a small tweak changed everything. By intentionally adding magnesium through foods like spinach and almonds, and adjusting when she took her calcium, those nightly nightmares started to fade. Her aha moment? It wasn't about what she was taking in, but how she balanced it. Now, when a cramp hits like a lightning bolt, there's a quirky fix that's practically legendary for its speed: pickle juice. Yep, you heard that right. Just a tiny shot, about an ounce and a half, can zap a cramp in as little as 90 seconds for many. At first, you might think it's all about electrolytes like sodium or potassium, but the relief comes way too fast for that. The real magic seems to lie in a wild theory. That sharp, acidic tang of pickle juice sparks a reflex in the back of your throat. This sends a signal to your brain that basically cuts off the misfiring nerve commands causing the cramp. It's like hitting a reset button for your body. Consider Arthur, a retired carpenter who'd battled calf cramps for years. Skeptical but desperate, he gave pickle juice a try. The moment that sour taste hit his throat, the pain in his leg melted away almost instantly. He couldn't believe the relief. But let's not just react, let's prevent. Here's a tip borrowed from folks who know muscles inside out: ballet dancers. They get that muscles need prep for rest, not just performance. A gentle bedtime stretching routine can work wonders. This isn't about breaking a sweat. It's a soft goodbye to the day, letting your muscles unwind. Try this. Stand facing a wall, hands on it for support, step 1 foot back, keep that leg straight, heel down, and lean in until you feel a gentle pull in your calf. Hold it for 20 to 30 seconds, then switch legs. Next, sit down, extend one leg out, bend the other so the sole rests against your inner thigh, and lean forward from your hips toward the extended foot, feeling the stretch in your thigh. Hold that for 20 to 30 seconds too, then swap. Finally, while sitting or lying down, point your toes away, then pull them back toward your shins, repeating 10 to 15 times. These moves aren't random. They lengthen tight muscle fibers and boost blood flow to your legs, making those sudden nighttime spasms less likely. So, as you wind down tonight, take a quick peek at what you ate today. Could a little more balance between calcium and magnesium be the ticket? Maybe pair that evening yogurt with a handful of nuts. And why not add a few of those gentle stretches before slipping under the covers? One small shift might just be the secret to kicking those midnight leg invaders to the curb and reclaiming your quiet, restful nights. What's one tiny change you could try tonight to outsmart this pesky problem? Let's chat about it. And here's the sleeping sound. 6. Let's dive into a bit of a hidden challenge today. You see, sometimes the very medications that protect our health can quietly steal away the strength in our legs. It's like a silent thief in the night, and we're here to uncover this medication trap without suggesting you stop any prescribed drugs. That's always a chat for you and your doctor. Instead, let's shed light on how some common meds might impact your mobility and what you can do to stay strong. First up, let's talk about statins, those cholesterol-lowering lifesavers. They're fantastic for heart health, but for some folks, they can cause muscle aches and weakness. Picture a lively 68-year-old lady who loved her morning walks, only to find her legs feeling like lead after starting statins. It's not just aging. It could be that these meds lower a key energy booster in muscle cells, leaving legs without the power they need. Then we've got diuretics, often called water pills, used for blood pressure or swelling. They help flush out excess fluid, but they can also wash away vital minerals like potassium and magnesium. Imagine a gardening enthusiast who suddenly can't squat to tend their plants because their legs feel like jelly. That mineral drain might just be the culprit behind that weakness. Now, consider beta blockers, commonly prescribed for heart conditions. They're great for keeping the heart steady, but they can leave you feeling too tired to move. When you're too fatigued to stay active, those leg muscles weaken from lack of use. It's not a direct hit, but an indirect blow to your strength. Another heavy hitter is corticosteroids, often used for inflammation in conditions like arthritis. They can tame internal storms, but long-term use might erode muscle tissue, especially around the hips and thighs. Think about how tough it gets to simply stand up from a chair when those core muscles are weakened. It's a double-edged sword, healing on one side while quietly breaking down strength on the other. So what's the game plan? If you're noticing unexplained leg weakness and you're on long-term meds, it might be time for a heart-to-heart with your healthcare provider. Ask about how your medications could be playing a role. Maybe it's about tweaking the timing of when you take them to avoid clashing with your active hours, or focusing on a diet that supports muscle health. It's all about being an active partner in your care. Your next step? Take a quick look at your medication list. If your legs aren't feeling as strong as they used to, bring this up at your next doctor's visit. Armed with this awareness, you can work together to keep those legs powered up and ready to carry you through life. Let's keep moving forward one step at a time. 7. Last time, we talked about the hidden challenges of medications and the importance of staying active. But no matter the obstacles, one thing remains in our control: keeping our legs strong. Now, here's a thought. Have we, in our modern world, overcomplicated fitness with fancy gym equipment, while overlooking the simplest, most ancient, and incredibly effective methods? Let's travel back in time to the era of Roman legions, where soldiers marched vast distances with unshakable strength, even into what we'd call middle or older age. Their secret wasn't just grit. It was a lifestyle built on powerful, practical wisdom. What was their trick? Weighted walking. But it wasn't just about carrying heavy gear. It was the consistency, the gradual increase in load, and the fact that this challenge was woven into their daily existence. Their very job was a leg-strengthening system. Modern science calls this progressive overload, a fancy term for a simple truth. To get stronger, you need to challenge your muscles a bit more over time. The Romans got this intuitively, building resilience through constant functional demand. Now, let's bring this to today, especially for us seniors. We often worry about overdoing it, fearing injury or strain. But here's the real kicker. What if under-challenging our muscles is the bigger danger? When muscles aren't pushed, they wither, and that's the fast track to weakness. The Romans knew that steady, growing demand keeps you robust. So how do we tap into this ancient strength without joining a legion? Let's start with something we all do: groceries. Picture this. Those grocery bags aren't just a chore. They're your portable leg strengthening kit. When you get home with a couple of reasonably weighted bags, don't rush to drop them. Instead, do a few slow, controlled farmer's walks from the car to the kitchen. Feel your thighs and calves engage with each step. As you put items away on lower shelves, don't just bend over. Turn it into a deliberate squat. Keep your back straight, knees behind your toes. Got some canned goods? Before shelving them, hold one in each hand and do a few controlled lunges right there in the kitchen. Step forward, bend both knees, then push back to start. You're turning a mundane task into a microdose of strength training. It's not about speed or tiring yourself out. It's about intention and control. Most of us sling those bags around without a second thought, but when you move with purpose, every lift and step builds power. Now, let's talk about another everyday gem: stairs. I know, stairs can feel like a hurdle, but what if they're your secret weapon for leg strength? Regular walking is great, but stair climbing? It's a game changer. It's up to 3 times more effective because you're fighting gravity with every step, firing up your quads, hamstrings, glutes, and calves. Don't just trudge up. Focus on pushing through your heels to really wake up those glutes. Try taking one step at a time, slow and deliberate, maybe even pausing for a second on each step to build that tension. If you're feeling steady and safe, carry a light grocery bag with just a couple of items for an extra nudge. This isn't a race, it's about quality movement. Even a few mindful flights a day can work wonders. I've got a story for you. Arthur, a retired postal worker, started by just climbing his home stairs twice a day with perfect form, imagining himself as a Roman soldier on a mission. At first, he was huffing and puffing, but within a month, he was not only getting out of chairs with ease, but feeling a surge of confidence he hadn't had in years. You might think this sounds too basic, but it's these small, consistent habits that over time build an unbreakable foundation for your legs. The magic of these ancient principles, backed by modern science, is how adaptable they are. This isn't about one-off, heroic efforts. It's about weaving steady, mindful challenges into the fabric of your daily routine. Strength doesn't come from a single burst of effort. It's born from day after day persistence and the wisdom to turn ordinary moments into opportunities. So, let me leave you with this. Starting today, how will you rethink your everyday tasks? How can you transform those moments you've seen as mundane into stepping stones for leg strength, forging a solid base for your life's journey, just like those Roman soldiers did? Let's keep moving one intentional step at a time. 8. Last time, we talked about forging leg strength like ancient Roman soldiers, turning everyday tasks into power-building moments. But here's the kicker. Even with all that strength, if your internal compass goes haywire, you're still at risk of crashing. Let's dive into the hidden and honestly dangerous link between your leg's strength and your ability to stay upright and balanced. It's not just about muscles. It's about how well your body talks to itself. Picture this. Losing leg strength isn't just about weaker muscles failing to catch you. It's way sneakier. It's like a domino effect, a silent cascade. When those muscles weaken, they also stop sending clear, fast signals to your brain about where your body is in space. This sense, known as proprioception, is your body's built-in GPS. Without it, you're stumbling around like you're blindfolded, even if you've got some strength left. Weak legs mean garbled messages, and that's where the real trouble starts. Now, let's get real for a second. For folks over 65, falls aren't just a minor slip-up. They're a dark abyss leading to fractures, loss of independence, and sometimes worse. And it's not always a sudden tumble. Often, it's a slow erosion, shuffling steps, hesitating at curbs, grabbing onto furniture more than you used to. This isn't just aging. It's your body warning you that the vital connection between leg strength and balance is breaking down. But here's the cool part. The same tricks that keep elite athletes, like acrobats or climbers, nimble and injury-free can work for you too. Take someone like Eleanor, a retired dancer. After knee surgery, she lost her balance and her confidence, dreading even short walks. But with a few simple drills, she started rebuilding that inner compass, eventually moving with grace again. It's not about brute power. It's about finesse and training your nerves to stay sharp. So how can you start? Let's try something deceptively simple. Next time you're brushing your teeth, stand on one leg for 30 seconds, then switch. Sounds easy, right? Don't be fooled. You'll wobble at first, your ankle and calf making tiny tweaks to keep you steady. That's your proprioceptive system in overdrive, your brain and muscles in a high-speed chat to stop you from tipping over. This isn't just a balance trick. It's recalibrating your body's GPS with every shaky second. Here's another gem, straight out of a police sobriety test. Don't laugh, it works. Try a heel-to-toe walk down your hallway. Take 10 slow steps, placing the heel of your front foot right against the toes of the back one, like you're on a tightrope. Stare a spot ahead. Feel your core, hips, and legs teaming up. It's not about speed, it's about precision. Every step forces your body to lean on those internal signals, making them stronger with each careful move. And one more you could do anywhere, gentle weight shifts. Stand with feet hip-width apart, then slowly shift your weight to one foot, lifting the other heel just a bit. Hold for a few seconds, noticing how the supporting leg's muscles kick in. Then switch sides. Go slow, stay controlled. This isn't about breaking a sweat. It's about teaching your brain to sense and adjust to tiny changes in balance. The beauty here isn't in bulking up your muscles. That's another conversation. This is about sharpening the dialogue between your body and brain, making sure the strength you've got is used smartly to keep you steady. It's about stopping that downward spiral where weak legs mean fuzzy signals, which breeds uncertainty and ultimately raises your risk of falling. So, let's think bigger. True independence and confidence aren't just about how much weight you can lift, but how well your body knows its place in this ever-shifting world. Don't wait for a wake-up call. Starting tomorrow, weave one of these tiny proprioception tune-ups into your day. You're not just regaining balance. You're rewriting how you move through life, step by steady step, all the way to the end. 9. Today, we're diving straight into action with a game-changing plan to transform your legs over the next 21 days. This is about building strength and resilience in your lower body through practical, everyday steps. Let's get moving with a routine that fits right into your day. First up, let's start with a gentle morning activation routine to wake up those legs. While still in bed, try the sunrise spinal twist. Lie on your back, draw both knees to your chest, then let them fall to one side while keeping shoulders flat and head turned the other way. Hold for 20 to 30 seconds, then switch sides. Next, sitting on the bed's edge, do nerve glides for nimbleness. Extend one leg out, flex your foot up toward your shin, then point it down like pressing a gas pedal, slumping your back slightly as you point and sitting tall as you flex. Do 5 to 8 reps per leg. Finally, stand up and reawaken your feet by spreading your toes wide, then relaxing. Lift just your big toe while keeping others down and reverse. Simple, but powerful for your foundation. Midday, it's time for strength builders that don't need a gym. Start with the controlled descent chair squat. Stand in front of a sturdy chair, lower yourself as if to sit, taking a full 5 seconds to descend. Barely touch the seat, then stand back up at a normal pace for 8 to 10 reps. Then, try the waiter's bow to calf raise. Stand tall, hinge at your hips with a straight back until you feel a stretch in your hamstrings, return to standing, and rise onto the balls of your feet for a second. Do 10 to 12 reps. Lastly, the elevated split squat pulse. Place one foot on a low, stable surface behind you, front foot forward so your knee stays behind your toes as you lower. Pulse up and down 5 to 8 times per leg to target imbalances. As the day winds down, let's focus on evening recovery rituals to thank your legs. Lie on the floor near a wall, legs up the wall for a gentle inversion, and circle your ankles 10 times each direction. Then, while sitting, roll a tennis ball under each foot for 2 to 3 minutes, hitting tender spots to release tension. A couple of times a week, consider an Epsom salt bath or include magnesium-rich foods in your evening meal or snack. Now, let's talk fuel with a straightforward list of leg-supporting foods. Go for proteins like fish, beans, and eggs. Vitamin C from bell peppers and citrus. B vitamins from leafy greens and nuts. And potassium and magnesium from bananas, sweet potatoes, and pumpkin seeds. Add anti-inflammatory helpers like turmeric with black pepper, ginger, and colorful veggies. For an extra boost, consider a supplement stack with magnesium in glycinate or malate form, vitamin D3 with K2, omega-3 fatty acids, and a quality B complex to support your efforts. Let me share a quick story about Eleanor, a 72-year-old who, after a hip fracture, feared she'd never walk without a walker again. Starting with gentle bed activations and slowly building to standing from a chair without hands, she transformed over months. Now, she's leading a community walking group, Walk Her Free, with newfound confidence. Then there's Robert, 68, who thought knee pain had stolen his mobility for good. With foot rolls, soaks, and a focus on anti-inflammatory foods, plus small isometric holds, he progressed. 6 months later, he stood at a trailhead with trekking poles, reclaiming a piece of life he thought was lost. Here's your daily key to long-term leg strength. Mindfulness in transitions. How do you rise from a chair? Do you heave up with arms and momentum, or engage your legs, press through heels, and stand with control? Each step up, each shift from sitting to standing, is a mini training moment. Treat these as challenges to reshape yourself. The care you give these small moves today builds your mobility and independence for years ahead. So tomorrow, pick one transition to approach with fresh intention. Let's make every move count.